Hi, I'm Kev Johnson, Systems Engineer at Runecast Solutions. In this video, I'm going to show you how to deploy Runecast Analyzer into an existing vSphere environment. First, log into the vSphere client and select the area where you want to deploy the appliance. In this case, I'm going to deploy to this vSphere cluster. Right-click the vSphere cluster and select Deploy Ovf Template. We're going to select the local file because we downloaded that in the previous video. First thing we need to do now is find where I downloaded them to. There we go. So we select the appliance and click Open, then click Next. You just need to give this a good virtual machine name, so I'll call this Lab RCA. And we decide where to deploy in terms of the folder. Next, we select where we're going to deploy to. We can either deploy to the cluster that we've selected or to an individual ESXi host. Let's go with the cluster. We now need to read down here and make sure that we're happy with all of this extra configuration which is used in order to harden the appliance, essentially. Once we're happy with that, click Next. Read through the end user license agreement. Definitely don't just skip all the way to the end and click I accept all license agreements. There might be some dodgy, terrifying legalese in there, but I can promise you there's not. We need to select a deployment size, and this will depend on the size of the environment that we're going to be monitoring. In this case, it's a lab, so I'm going to deploy with a small configuration for up to 50 hosts. It's going to require 2 vCPUs and 4 gig of memory. Select a location to deploy the storage for the appliance to. In this case, I'm going to go with the vSAN data store, hit Next. Select the relevant network. In this case, because it's a lab, I only have one VM network, so I'm going to select that. I will go with the static IP address, and we're going to use IP4. Hit Next. Now we need to key in the details for the appliance itself. So my IP address is 10.10.25.105. It's a /24 subnet. And my gateway is 10.10.25.1, and I'll just use my lab DNS server there, and I'm going to call this runecast.runecast.lab. Hit Next and finish. And now the appliance will deploy. This may take a few minutes. Now that the appliance has successfully completed deployment, we can power it on. As we can see here, the initial startup has completed, so let's go to the web interface. On initial deployment, this may take another minute or two. There we go, all the services have started up, so we can now log into the Runecast web interface. Initial login will be RC user, and the password is Runecast with an uppercase R. If you ever forget this, you can always click the button here, which will take you to the location in the user guide. That's all we're going to cover in this episode. Join me in the next video where I'll walk you through configuring up your first Runecast Analyzer instance. Thanks very much.